Before the rain ever touched the earth, one woman already saw the end. Noah's wife stood on the mountain's edge, staring at skies that whispered judgment. While Noah built the ark, she dreamt of a world drowning in its sins. Every night the same voice came to her, not of mercy, but of mourning. She saw fire within the clouds, beasts running from invisible wrath, children crying, men laughing at the heavens until the laughter froze. The earth groaned beneath her feet like a beast waiting to break its chains. She woke with tears she couldn't explain, hands shaking with holy fear. No one believed her, not even the man chosen to save mankind. Her heart whispered, "The flood is not water, it's truth," and she feared truth more than the storm itself. She felt the wind kiss her face like a final warning, and somewhere deep inside she knew heaven weeps before it punishes. She saw what Noah could not, the angels who fell before the flood. In her dreams they descended wrapped in fire and thunder, whispering forbidden names. They taught men weapons, seduction, and pride until the earth was poisoned. Their children walked like kings but fed on blood and fear. She saw their eyes cold, eternal, and full of vengeance. One of them spoke her name as if he already knew her soul. He told her, "Your husband will build, but I will destroy what he saves." Her cries echoed into the wind as the stars themselves seemed to dim. It was not just water that was coming, it was cleansing by divine rage. She begged the heavens for silence, but the sky only screamed louder. And she knew, heaven itself was preparing for war. The night smelled like iron and ash. And the moon hid its face, ashamed of what it witnessed. When Noah built wood by faith, his wife built silence by fear. She carried visions like hidden wounds, never telling what she saw next. In her heart, she knew some aboard the ark were not meant to survive. Each plank of the ark sounded like a heartbeat counting down creation. Animals entered calmly, but the earth trembled like it wanted to scream. She saw the faces of the drowned before the flood even began. The smell of rain felt like death dressed as mercy. She touched the ark's door and whispered a prayer that God never answered. Because deep inside, she feared the flood was only the beginning. That the ark wasn't salvation, it was a cage for prophecy. And once sealed, even faith could not escape its destiny. The clouds hung low, waiting for their cue. And the first drop that fell carried the taste of sorrow. When the first drop fell, she already knew the world was doomed. Winds tore across the mountains as thunder cracked the horizon open. She saw children's toys floating before the water even reached them. The sky turned black, not from clouds, but from the sorrow of heaven. Noah prayed, she wept. The sound of rain became screams. For 40 days she watched the world erase itself, one wave at a time. In the dark, she thought she heard the angels laughing underwater. The ark became a coffin of memories no one dared to open. She asked God, "Why must innocents drown with the guilty?" The silence that followed was louder than thunder. And in that silence, she realized even mercy has limits. She pressed her hand against the ark's wall and felt the heartbeat of a dying world. And she swore she would remember every voice the water swallowed. When the waters rested, her visions did not. She saw a second flood, not of water, but of pride and power. A world that would rise again to mock heaven, just as before. She wrote her visions on clay, sealed them beneath Mount Ararat. The tablet spoke of a final storm, one of fire, not rain. Historians say they vanished, believers say they were never meant to be found. Noah's wife disappeared from Scripture, but her prophecy still breathes in whispers. And the question she left behind still haunts the world. What if the next flood has already begun, and this time, it's inside us? She saw towers rise to heaven again, built from human arrogance. And somewhere, beyond the clouds, God was already gathering the storm. The mountains echoed her last warning to the wind, and her name was erased because truth has no place in comfort. The flood cleansed the earth, but not the curse. When the ark touched ground, Noah's wife saw shadows walking among the survivors. The Nephilim were gone, yet their whispers still echoed through men's dreams. She saw her sons build cities on bones they couldn't see. Their children laughed under the same stars that once warned of judgment. The world looked new, but the hearts of men were still ancient. She feared the flood had only washed the surface clean. Every sunrise felt like a secret repeating itself. Her womb trembled with memory. The blood of both heaven and earth still flowed. She told Noah, "The water spared us, but sin survived inside us," and he turned away, unable to meet her eyes. She felt the air grow heavy with guilt once more. And the rainbow above them looked more like a wound than a promise. When the fire came, it didn't fall from the sky, it walked. In the ruins of the old world, she saw a figure made of light and sorrow. Its wings were torn, its face half man, half flame. It told her, "I was cast out for mercy, not rebellion." She felt no fear, only recognition. The angel placed ashes in her hands and said, "From these, nations will rise and fall." Then it vanished, leaving her heart burning with forbidden truth. She realized the flood was not the end, but the beginning of judgment's circle. Heaven and earth were bound together by grief, and she carried that grief like a crown she never wanted. She looked toward the horizon, where smoke met sunlight, and she whispered, "Even angels bleed when God remembers. Even silence has a sound when God is listening." While Noah slept, she wandered the valleys of Ararat alone. The wind carried voices soft, ancient, and sorrowful. Beneath the stones she heard something alive, not human, not divine. A pulse, a hum, a warning, the same rhythm she'd heard in her dreams before the flood. She dug with trembling hands until she found a black shard of stone. It was warm, glowing faintly, engraved with symbols older than Eden. She hid it under her robe, never telling Noah what she found. For the first time, she feared not God, but what came before him. She felt the mountain tremble as if protecting its secret, and she realized some things buried by heaven are not meant to rise again. Some prophecies are not written, they breathe. The stone she found began to whisper her name at night. It showed her fire falling from heaven, seas turning to blood. Her hands glowed whenever she prayed. Noah noticed the change. Her eyes shimmered like stormlight. He asked her what she had done, but she stayed silent, because the shard had told her one truth: faith is only fear wearing holy robes. She dropped it into a spring, but the water hissed and boiled. The ground trembled, and a voice said, "You cannot bury revelation." From that night on, the stars avoided her gaze. She felt her dreams become heavier, darker, and each sunrise looked more like judgment than mercy. God spoke again, but not to Noah. One night, when thunder rolled without rain, a presence filled her tent. It said, "The rainbow is for him, the fire is for you." She fell to her knees, trembling. The voice told her that one day, mankind would beg for the flood again because the fire would show no mercy. "Guard the prophecy," it said, "but never speak it." When she woke, her hands were marked with 7 faint circles of light. She hid them beneath cloth, afraid her husband would see the seal of heaven's fire. And for the first time, she knew she had heard the truth, not the promise. The air smelled like smoke before the world even burned. And she finally understood. Faith always demands a sacrifice. The sky never lies, but sometimes it remembers. Years later, she dreamt of 2 suns burning over one ocean. The world beneath them melted into glass. One sun was mercy, the other was wrath. She saw men walking blind, choosing warmth over truth. The sea rose again, this time glowing like molten gold. The ark reappeared, drifting through fire instead of water. She screamed, "Not again," but the heavens were deaf. She woke with scorched palms and ash beneath her nails, and for the first time she realized prophecy doesn't end, it evolves. The horizon bled red as dawn returned, and the world kept smiling, unaware it was already burning. She lived long enough to see her visions turn into history. The world multiplied, men forgot, and altars replaced fear with pride. She walked alone into the mountains, following the whisper of her stone. It called her to a cave filled with light that didn't belong to this earth. Inside, she saw every flood, every fire, every rebirth, a cycle without mercy. A final voice spoke. The next flood will be born from knowledge, not rain. She smiled through tears, realizing humanity would drown not in water, but in its own wisdom. She wrote her last words in blood upon the wall. When men play God, even heaven must hide. And then, silence the kind that only comes before another storm. The cave sealed itself with a single breath of wind, and somewhere above, thunder rolled as if history had started again.